Yep, thank you. So let's see what is the first requirement. The first requirement here is to calculate the goodwill that arose on acquisition of Sleek company. That is what the first requirement that I have. So that means there is one acquisition happened, right? You see, Vroom company is an established company in an automotive industry and has been selling cars globally for many years. Okay. So the moment I see this, I see that the year ending here, that the question or whatever it is 31st December. And on 1st January X3, Room Company acquired 80% of Sleek companies for $100 million share capital. Okay. We acquired 80% of Sleek companies, $100 million share capital. All right. And Sleek company, which specializes in electric vehicles, Vroom company paid a cash of 650 million on 1st Jan X3, and we will also pay another 300 million of cash on when? On 1st Jan X6 if Sleek company meets certain performance target. Wow, okay. At So I've been telling to all of you guys there is something called contingent consideration. This is what it is. At 1st Jan X3, the fair value of the 300 million of consideration due to be paid on 1st Jan X6 was 210 million, and at 31st December X3, the fair value was deemed to be 160 million. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this additional purchase consideration. Okay. And Sleek Company is a group, is one on only associate of the Vroom company, and in their consolidated P&L for the year ended 31st December X3 for both Vroom companies P&L for the year ended 31st December X2. So this is single entity count. Which is single entity? 1 year we have single entity. The next year to compare it is actually group. This is what the information that I have. Okay. So let's understand what is the other information that they've given for us to calculate goodwill. They are trying to say at acquisition, Sleek company had retained loss of 80 million. Sleek company also had an unrecognized intangible assets estimated to have a fair value of 250 million. It's a fair value adjustment and a useful life of 10 years. So post acquisition profit, we have to give a share, or loss may we have to give a share. NCI on that date is $6.8 per share. Okay. Guys, with this, can we prepare goodwill at acquisition? Yes. What and all we need if we, guys, this is a 4 marks requirement. Don't prepare working note number 1, 2, 3, 4. All of this is not at all required. Okay. So you can directly do it. What do I need? I need purchase consideration. Yeah. First one I need is purchase consideration. If you see the purchase consideration, what is the kind of consideration you can expect to have? You can have first cash consideration, that is of how much we paid everyone, 650 million if I'm not wrong, right? We have paid around 650 million. Contingent consideration. First of all, what is contingent consideration? If I have to pay money to you, there should be certain conditions that should fall behind. For example, if I have to give you 300 million, if your performance meets certain targets, then I'm ready to pay you 300 million. If your performance doesn't meet, then I'm not ready to pay 300 million. It's like more of a provision. So you guys tell me, if somebody promises that they will purchase 100 goods from you in 1 year span of time, approximately how much they have to purchase every month? If somebody promises you 100 goods for 12 months period of time, approximately that person should at least purchase 8 from 8 to 8.5. Let's keep 8 good from you, so that it is very promising that that person will pay you, purchase 100 units from you. That's how it works. Now, if I promise you that I'll pay you 300 million on 1st Jan X6, that is almost 3 years from the acquisition. It's my job to evaluate your performance every year after year, based on your performance. Correct? Yeah. I will keep increasing the price that I told you to pay. Right? If your performance is good, I'll keep increasing. But what if your performance is going behind? Then maybe I might not pay 300 million. I might pay lesser than that. Yeah. So that is what here they're trying to say. On 1st Jan X3 will pay when this is on this date, the fair value of 300 million consideration due to be paid on which date? This 300 million is due to be paid on 1st Jan X6. But as of today, that 300 million value is how much? Only 210 million. So think and tell me, do I have to consider 300 million as contingent consideration or 210 million as contingent consideration? What do you guys think? 300 million or 210 million? Take a guess. Yes, very good. It is 210 million because I promised you I'll pay you 300 million if your performance gets better. If your performance is getting better later, that means your performance is not so great today. You need to understand. The contingent consideration that I will pay you is, as of today, its value is 210 million. What will be the purchase consideration then? 650 plus 210. Then what should I reduce less? Fair value of net assets at acquisition. How do we calculate fair value of net assets at acquisition? For this, I need to know share capital at acquisition. How much is the share capital at acquisition? All of you guys, can you see here? 80% of Sleek's overall company's share capital was 100 million. And I didn't have retained earnings, rather I had retained loss at acquisition that is given in the question, that is minus 80. And I have a fair value adjustment, that is intangible asset. Now this intangible asset is how much? 250 million, right? So that's it. You don't have to worry about post-acquisition and all of that right now because the requirement is to calculate goodwill at acquisition. So what is the fair value of net assets at acquisition? Fair value of net assets at acquisition was 270 on this day, right? Yeah. Then what is the next thing I need to worry about? Add NCI at acquisition. How do we add NCI at acquisition? See, out of 100 million shares, we have acquired 80. That means remaining would have been 20. This multiplied with, on that date, the share price was $6.8. That is what it is being given. So if you consider directly how much it is going to be, 100 into 0.2, that is going to be 20 million shares into 6.8. My NCI at acquisition is 136. What do you think the goodwill at acquisition will be? Goodwill at acquisition is going to be the sum of all of this, which gives us the value of 726. That is going to be my goodwill at acquisition. Yeah, if you do that, how many marks you'll get? You'll get 4 marks. So what is the requirement number A? Goodwill at acquisition of Sleek company. Just give this heading. Sure, your job is done. 4 marks is done. Let's move to the next information that has been asked here. Look at this. Now, using the pre-formatted table, calculate to 1 decimal the following ratios for the years ended 31st December X3 and X2 for the Vroom group and Vroom company respectively. We have to calculate three ratios: gross profit margin, operating profit margin, ROCE. Now the point is, are they asking you to make any adjustments? They're not asking you to make any adjustments. They are asking you to calculate ratios and stick to the answer. Like, don't think like, oh, I know there might be an adjustment, all of that. Not required. Okay. You just have to calculate. Very simple. What are you going to do? You're just going to put it as calculation of ratios for Vroom company and what is the next one? Vroom group. For two respective years, you have to go ahead and calculate. So whatever they have given here, see, in exam, you'll have this pre-formatted table, guys. Okay. So what is the first ratio that they've asked here? The first ratio that they have asked here is gross profit, margin, and then operating profit margin. See, when the ratios are lesser, it's very difficult sometimes to make the analyzation. Okay. Operating profit margin, and then you have ROC. These are all the three ratios that you have to calculate and stick to the point. So you show the working, yeah, show the working, and which year, what you have to just write that working for how do you get the values. And second thing, you show it is for 2000, X3 for Vroom group. Correct? Yeah, that is the first thing. And next, it is again you have to show the working, but this time it is 2000 X2 just Vroom single entity company, only Vroom co. Yeah, this is what I have. What is the formula for gross profit margin? Very simple, guys. We have GP margin here. 2.4 million is single entity ka, 2.3 million is for group. Revenue is 12.2 and revenue here is 13.450. And profit from operation is 730, 940. Similarly, we have ROCE, sorry, capital employed, which can be used in the ROCE calculation. These are all the informations required. First, 730 upon, sorry, 2.3 upon 13,450. That is the first working that I have to show. All of you open the information that I have given you guys. Yeah, what is the profit? It is 2.3 million divided by, what is the revenue, guys? The revenue is 13,450. So that gives me what? That gives me the value of how much? 2.3 million divided by 13,450. It is coming up. Later I'll change it to percentage. Don't worry. And similarly, if I go to single entity, how much is it? It was 2.4 million divided by 12.2 million. Let me just cross verify once. 2.4 upon 12. Yeah. So same thing. Go calculate 2.4 million divided by 12.2. So that is little higher. And for operating profit margin, I believe it was 730, but let me cross verify. 730 divided by, of course, 13,450. And here it is 940. Apply the same thing. 940 divided by 12,200. Just have to apply the formula for this. And here also. Oh, next, what do we need? I need ROC. For that, I already have the values here. 730. What is my capital employed? 33,670 for group company and 31,450 for single entity. 940 divided by 31,450. Yeah. 31,450. Right? Very good. So when I apply this, and here also I'll go ahead and take and I'll calculate. I should be getting a ratio of this much. So let me convert all of this into percentage. I'll keep 1 or 2 decimal. That's more than enough. Okay. Generally, 1 decimal is more than enough. And if you want to keep it for 2 decimal, it should still be fine. Oh, I made a mistake. It's 13,450. Yeah. So if you want to keep single decimal, keep single decimal. To see, single decimal should be fine so that it's easy to make the analyzation. Yeah, you don't have to put 0.75 and all of that every time. So you can keep single thing. So if you do this, how many marks you'll be getting, guys? You'll be getting 3 marks. Job done. This is it. Next, go through the last requirement. What do we have? Yeah. See, till here, I think it's easy to do. Everybody, I don't think so. It's a big deal. Correct. Now, after this is what you actually have to understand the question. If you see the next question, what are they asking? The next requirement is you have to analyze. The word analyze is very, very important. Okay. You tell me, what do you mean by analyze? First of all, that you need to understand. You need to understand the difference of derivatives. What do you mean by analyze? So, see, when I talk about analyze, understand, it's my job to add multiple things in the answers. Okay. So, analyze may you have to address the requirement first. Yes. Yes, not extracting alone. And you first address the requirement, then apply to the scenario, and you should balance between the calculation and commentaries most of the times, and make a judgment, give recommendation, make it professional presentation. These are all the things we call it as analyze. So let's understand, they're trying to analyze the performance of Vroom Group company for the year ended 1 year may it is group compared to the performance of Vroom company for the year ended 31st December extra. That's what they've asked for. That's what we do also. Okay. Now let's read additional information, whatever is there. Look at this. Sleek company has currently accounted for in the consolidated financial statements for the year ended 31st December X3. Sleek company's individual financial statements for the period showed revenue of 380 million with losses from operations of 170 million. What do you think this is talking about? Look at this. This 380 million has actually added to their group company. If you can use your brain, what is then Vroom company's separate revenue? Can I say out of this 313 million 450, if you eliminate 380, the remaining value that will be of 1370 will be the actual revenue of Vroom company separately. Do you guys agree? And with they have an operating loss. That means if I would have eliminated 170 million from 730, that is of how much? 560. That is actual Vroom company's single entity. Do you guys agree? Yeah. Okay. Now, hold on. In the face of declining global sales, global sales, Vroom company recently undertook the decision to invest in Sleek company due to the new technology it made use of, particularly in relation to the research it was undertaking regarding long battery lives and self-driving technology. Something like, where the battery can keep up for a very long period and without a driverless car. So something like that. Okay. So in entire global, there is a sales which is getting reduced, but Room company especially took interest because they have invested on this research, which is going on for a very long period. Okay. And during X3, Sleek company continued to invest significant amounts on the battery and self-driving technology. In January X4, it was confirmed that new battery technology was viable. Sleek company was able to patent this technology and project entered the development phase. At this point, it is expected that this will be completed during early X4, that is in next 3-4 months. The self-driving technology is still in the research phase. Good. Vroom company also launched a range of after-sales service arrangements for new customer during X3 due to lower repair required on new vehicles. These have been profitable for Vroom company. Guys, so many information is there. 13 marks ke liye you can easily analyze. What is the first point would you write? What is the first point would you write? There's a ready guys, if you ask me if I am a exam, if I write the answer, this is how I write. 13 marks, I'll make sure 16 to 17 points are there. Okay. So what do I write? I have to first talk about performance of the question is all about performance. There is no other thing. There is no other requirement also. Vroom company and Vroom group, right? This is what the heading is. So when I have such thing, the first point that I would like to write is the revenue has increased around how much? See, look at the way that I'm showing the calculation. 13,450 minus 380, that gives me 13,070. That minus 12,200 of 2000 x2. So I show this to the examiner. He understands what am I trying to say. Yeah. So the revenue has increased around how much? The revenue has increased around I thought my revenue is 13,450, but in that I have a subsidiary companies of 380, which makes my revenue of 13,070. In the last year, I made a revenue of how much? 12,200. That means it has increased around 870 million, despite of contribution from whom? Despite of contribution from Sleek company for the year ended. Correct. Year ended 31st December 2000 X3. Correct. Or else, ma'am, can I write some other point? Yes, you can. Why do you think there could be an increase in the sale? This increase could due to be, this increase could due to be after sale services, after sales services, which is provided by whom? Or after sale services brought or introduced, whatever you want to use, brought by which company? Who has brought this? Vroom company. I'm talking about only Vroom company. An examiner, when you write this, can close their eyes and give 1.5 marks for this. Yeah. Now, revenue I spoke about. Let's look at the gross profit margin. The gross profit margin, gross profit margin has reduced around how much? Gross profit margin has reduced or by approximately how much is the difference? 19.7 percentage minus 17.1 percentage. What is the difference, guys? 19.7 minus 17.1. 2.6 percentage, approximately 2.6 percentage. Even there is a an increase in revenue, or you can say irrespective of revenue being increased. You want to use professional language, you can use. You want to keep it simple, it's fine. Yeah. So can I say this could be, or if I have to use another word, what else you can use? You might use the word saying that this is something which is rare. Yeah. Or what else you can use? What else you can use? Maybe you can use, this is uncommon, or you can use, but don't use like, this Gen Z's words like this is weird, this is typical, and all of that. ACCA examiner will kick you out. Yeah, you can say this is unexpected. Why this is unexpected? Because as the new sales, after sales services should be profitable, looks like profitable, or new sales services seems to be profitable. You can say seems to be profitable. And even to conclude now, so this, you made a point saying that this is something that there is a reduction of 2.6 percentage, but this is not something which is as expected, because we thought the after sales services should actually increase our, yes, should actually increase our what, high, profitable. So which, which actually, which is very evident, and this is, or you can say this seems to be profitable. Evidently there should have been an increase in what, evidently there should have been, there should be a increase in GP margin. Yeah, some of other reasons, some of the other reasons, what else you think the other reason could be? Why not sure, Ray. Why? I'll tell you why. It's not clear, because I'll tell you some of the other reasons could be due to sleep company is making loss in operations, but however, however, gross profit or cost of sales of sleep company could give more clarity. Correct? Could provide more clarity. Can I say like that? Why I say more clarity? Because they're trying, yes, we made a loss operations, yes. But how much sure are we that we actually are into losses of gross profit margin as well? Now, you let the examiner know that you are making an assumption, giving, considering the current conditions, considering the current condition of sleek company being highly involved in research, is there a chance where there could be a chance where what, where all the R&D expenses, or you have to let the examiner know it could be all or some or part, yeah, part of the R&D expenses. Don't write R&D like me. Research and development expenses might have been charged to cost of sales. This could be a reason. Maybe. But we are not sure. Why? Because again, ma'am, R&D should be capitalized. No, why are we treating this as an expenses? Correct, people? Yeah. So there is a reason. Read this. They're trying to say an information here that we have continued to do battery self-driving technology and all of that. Only in Jan X4 it was confirmed that the new battery technology was viable. That means in, see, only in 2000, only in 2000 X4, only in early 2000 X4 sleek company met the pirate criteria, right? That means in the last year, that means the last accounting period, all the R&D expenses has charged to statement of P&L account. Can we say like this? How many points, guys? 1.5. You will get one more mark here, one more mark here, 1 mark, or like put together at least you'll get like 4 to 5 marks for whatever you've written. 5 marks, so definitely you'll get. Even more. It depends. Okay. It depends. Now, what else? What else we have? What else? Yes, thank you. Yeah. Added to all of this, added to all the above statements, global declining sales could also be could also be a reason, but when sales decreases, what else decreases? Cost of sales also decreases, but not operating expenses. Do you guys agree? So that means this point you have to not add it in gross profit margin. You have to add this point in the operating profit margin. Getting? One more is there. One more is there. One more is there. Okay, let's move to operating. So much points in GP margin. Let's move to operating profit margin. Again, Vroom groups operating profit margin is reduced by or declined by how much? Again, show the calculation. This is of how much? It is of 7.7. It is of 7.7 percentage. Minus, guys, please tell me the difference. 5.4 percentage. I'm sure it is 2.3 percentage. Declined by 2.3 percentage. Right? Yeah. Now tell me, do you see there is a similar decrease in the gross profit margin and operating profit margin? Do you see similar points in gross profit margin and operating profit margin? Or looks like operating profit margin has not reduced as much as the gross profit margin. Correct, people? Yeah, right, people? Guys, respond. Do you see what is the reduction? 2.6 percentage is the reduction. But if you looks like operating profit margin, it is only reduced by 2.3 percentage, which is not as much as what? Not as much as GP margin. Now, why I am feeling? I thought the impact of what? Impact of sleek companies additional amortization of how much? expenses of that 250 million fair value adjustment you did. With the remaining useful life of 10 years, you should have charged additional amortization of 25 million. I thought the impact would be even more. Correct? Yeah. So the impact of Sleek Company's additional amortization expenses of 25 million in consolidated statement of P&L. Consolidated statement of P&L should have costed what? Should have reduced operating profit margin even more. Correct? But why it is not reduced? Why is it not reduced? No, don't repeat the points. Why is it not reduced? All of you guys, look at this. What is the fair value of contingent consideration at day one? On 1st Jan 2000 X3, the fair value of 2000 X3, fair value of contingent consideration is how much? It's 210 million. Now, think and tell me on 31st December 2000 X3, the fair value of contingent consideration is how much? Look at this, everyone. They've clearly said, how much is it? 160 million. Good, Tanish. So now, if you see, all of you guys can see 160 million here. Think and tell me whose liability was this? Whose liability was this? Parent company's liability. A reduction in liability should be treated as what? Very good. How much is the reduction, guys? The reduction is approximately 50 million. The reduction in liability should be treated as profit. Very good. Yeah. What do? I have to reduce my contingent consideration. I reduce my contingent consideration with how much? With 50 million. That means by year ending, maybe they're going even more loss. So I have to reduce the value that I told that they'll be paying them. So this should be a fair value gain on consideration. That is of how much? That is of 50. So now can I say even more? But this reduction has compensated by how whom? By compensated by reduction in contingent contingent consideration, which boosted up what? Which boosted your operating margin. Other hand, please give the calculations. That is of how much? That is of 210 million minus 160 million. 50 million was credited to statement of P&L account by parent. Correct. Whose parent? Don't write to parent like this. Vroom company. All of you guys able to understand this point? How many marks, guys? You'll be able see. Trust me. You write this much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like you'll easily get 8 marks for this. Okay. So now you can talk about this. Added to all the above statements, global declining sales could also be a reason for what? Reason for OP margin could be reduced. Could be a reason for reduction in operating profit margin. See, why am I saying reduction, ma'am? Isn't it compensated? Guys, you need to understand the expenses that I have reduced is how much? It is 25 million of amortization expenses. The credit entry that I made is 50 million. Further, some other global, if sale reduces, I understand cost of sales reduces, but operating expenses, there are some fixed expenses which will stay constant. Even the sale reduces, it will not go. You'll still have to pay, right? That could be additional point. You might just get half marks. Why to leave that? Okay. Now you guys tell me, rest over. Like I'll not be able to make any more information. I can't dig deeper. You tell me what else now I'll be able to talk about. You guys need to understand now this Lee company has actually done the better job in long battery cutting, but the self-driving cars that they have not satisfied yet. Okay. Even though they might have a negative impact. Yeah, what you can say despite the negative, you talk about ROCE as well? We have one ROCE as well. Yeah. See, you can see all along the weaker profits. What you can talk about? You can talk about alongside weaker operating profits. Can you see capital employed has also increased? How capital employed is increased, guys? This could be because of, sorry, excuse me. This is due to what? Why do you think ROCE could have, sorry, why do you think ROCE could have increased? Use your brain. If you know consolidation, you know this. What? Think. Guys, very good, Tanish. Good job. This could be due to the recognition of what? Recognition of NC. Guys, you should understand why ROCE will increase. What changed in your capital? What changed in equity? Only thing that changed from single entity to consolidation is NCI, right? This could be due to NCI in equity, NCI in equity, which was not present in when? Which was not present in 2000 X2. And this helps in explaining what? This helps in explaining the decrease in ROC. How much is the decrease, guys? It is around 3 percentage minus 2.2 percentage. The reduction is 0.8%. Yeah, could be, but very evidently NCI, because the single entity and the difference between single entity and consolidation, one and only thing is ROC, NCI, no. But otherwise, I can also talk about, see, the fall in ROCE is partly attributable to uh, reduced operating profits too. Yeah, it's not because always because was capital employed, it could be because of the return also, right? But however, but may also, like, it is not, I can't give a clarity because the difference is not huge, right? But also reflect sleek, I don't know how sleek companies existing liabilities because they want to fund the research. Yes, yeah. There's a chance where their existing liabilities to fund existing liabilities or uh, additional equity issued to fund the research might have consolidated. Fund the research might have consolidated in financial statements. That could be a reason why by ROC can go down. Now, just give a small saying that, because see, if you see, despite even the negative impact, despite the negative impact, sleek companies, sleek companies, new battery developments remain uh, very promising, or you can just say remain promising. Okay, so because it looks like it is very promising and everything, what do you think I can do? The battery development is promising because they've clearly said that words to you guys. Yeah, very promising. Can I say that's the reason this was key driver of the acquisition. This was the, what is key driver? The main point, yeah, of the acquisition, like the material information for me to acquire the sleek company. So can I say, so which suggest, this suggests a strong performance increase in the future, a strong performance increase by sleek company in the near future, you can say near future. Yeah, anything else, what else you will talk about? Don't you think you'll get marks for this, guys? Till now, how many marks do you think you'll get for this? We've written so many points, guys. You should be getting a good chunk of marks for this. Apart from that, would you leave the question here only? What else you will do? What else you? I said like I want to write 16 to 17 points because it's a 13 marks question. I have written one. Let's assume one. Let's assume these two as two. And three, four, five, six. Not considering this as a point. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, approximately written put together. Key driving, self-driving, that is still in the search phase. Yes. Very good. The next thing that I'll be writing is conclusion. Who will write conclusion? How many points I think you have to write in conclusion? At least some 4 to 5 points you have to write. Who's gonna write that? You guys gonna write. I've given so much explanation. Okay. What conclusion would you do? That is up to you guys. Yeah. So not everything can be a spoon feeding thing. It's your job to go ahead and do the conclusion part and send me the answer. I'm always here to evaluate. Okay. So take some 10 minutes of writing the conclusion. Okay. So you guys can share it to me. I will be able to evaluate once you share. But yes, it's a good question that we have where so this multiple kind of requirements, you'll be able to score multiple marks. Maybe you're not good at analyzation. You're not good at goodwill calculation, but good at analyzation should actually help you. Okay. Now, I'll take all the questions. If anybody is having any question, you guys can let me know. And I'm switching off the recording because somebody who's gonna watch more than this, there's nothing to watch.